think there's two pieces to brand loyalty. There's certainly the messaging and the engagement and making the consumer part of the conversation. But I think the first piece is satisfying a consumer need and satisfying it well. I am a loyal Bounty paper towel consumer. It's not because Bounty speaks to me, it's not because I engage with the Bounty conversation, it's because Bounty works. I am a loyal Honda auto owner. I own 3 of them between me and my children because it works. Because when I get in the car, I know that it's going to perform well. It's nice to be part of a conversation, but it is not meaningful if the product doesn't satisfy a need. And I think that we get very carried away sometimes with the end kind of the conversation, which is all the jazz and all the bells and whistles, and we forget, are we selling something that is valuable? And in the end, what we are doing is selling. And I think that we can dress it up, and we should dress it up, and we should have some fun with it, and it should be meaningful. But in the end, we're selling a product, a good, a service, and it has to be something the consumer wants, and it has to deliver again and again and again. So I think that, to me, is the duality of the conversation.
Well, brand loyalty is more important than ever in a social media-enabled world, but loyalty isn't enough. What brands really need to strive for is advocacy. That's where consumers are actually spreading the message on behalf of the brand. Easier said than done, because consumers quite often go to the dark side where they're moving against brands, and I would argue that most brands really need to focus on the negative sides of social media before they really try to hype up the positive. But the one thing we know is clear: nurturing loyalty is more important than ever because it has a much bigger impact in a social media enabled world. One of the best case studies out there is Zappos.com, one of the top retailers, and they really treat word of mouth as the #1 marketing tool. And the one thing that's interesting about that experience is that they really invite consumers to provide feedback, even to complain in English or Spanish, vis-a-vis the phone or vis-a-vis the chat, just about any tool. And they know that that is the way you really nurture an emotional connection. You dignify their voice by allowing them to speak out, and that emotional connection is what really builds up the advocacy. And this is a very important point, because nurturing advocacy is really hard. I mean, to some extent, you have to take everything you used to do well before and do it even better, because the mistakes tend to be amplified in this environment.